Hey guys, it's bright and early in the morning. Now we've got lots of jobs to do today, but the first thing I'm going to do is get started cooking my first brisket on the Traeger. So, should be interesting. I'm going to use a pretty simple recipe that was on Traeger's website. Basically, you cook the brisket at 225 degrees Fahrenheit until the internal temperature reaches 160, and then you wrap it and put it back on the grill until you get to the final temperature of, I think it's 205, around there. But the first thing we have to do is season and trim the, trim and season the brisket before we put it on. So I'm gonna preheat the grill and get everything prepped. Okay, so we have our brisket trimmed and seasoned. I have the meat probe in the thin side of the meat. I'll be setting an alert for 160 degrees. I'm gonna cook it fat side down to begin with. Bunch of recipes do it meat side down, fat side down, but I'm gonna do it fat side down for this one. Temperature's almost up to where it's supposed to be, 225. I'm just gonna put it on. Not really a big deal. This first step should take about 6 hours, so I'll keep an eye on the time, keep an eye on the temperature, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, that's it for another day of working outside. The brisket has been on for 10 hours. After the first 6, I came out here and wrapped it in tinfoil. I didn't have my camera, so I didn't film it. But it's right up to temperature, 205 degrees internal temperature. So I'm gonna shut off the grill and take it off, bring it inside, let it rest for about an hour, and then open it up and see what we got. Cook at 225. That's how many pellets I used. Actually, not too much at all. This was full right to the top with pellets when we started. Okay, so it's been resting for about a half an hour. It should probably rest for a little bit longer, but I'm getting a little impatient, so we're gonna open it up and see what we got. It's still really hot. Take the meat probe out. And there it is. So, transfer it to a cutting board. You know, looks good. Nice smoke ring. And we'll give it a little test. Alright guys, final verdict on the brisket. It was excellent. I'd probably give it about a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, the meat was excellent. That rating is more for me to improve my skills. What I would do differently is I would be more aggressive on trimming the next one. There is a lot of fat in between the layers of meat, so yeah, next time definitely more aggressive in trimming and more aggressive in seasoning. The seasoning really didn't penetrate that deeply into the meat, so I've seen a couple videos where people season it the night before, they wrap it up and let it sit overnight before cooking it. So I might give that a try. The other recipe that we do quite often is beef jerky, and I have some footage of us prepping and smoking some beef jerky on the Traeger, so let's take a look at that. So I use Traeger's peppered beef jerky recipe with a couple modifications. Starts with a can of beer, 1 cup of soy sauce, a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce, a tablespoon of black pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. And then I usually throw in a 1/4 cup of barbecue sauce instead of the sugar that the recipe calls for. And I don't use any extra salt if the soy sauce has a pretty high salt content to begin with. So anything around 1,000 milligrams per serving. After that, I use a beef jerky cutting board and slice whatever roast I have. It's usually about 1/4 inch thick. That's the size that works well for me. I let the meat marinate overnight and then onto the Traeger. Alright guys, it's been 5 hours at 165. It's usually more than enough time. They look good. Take them off. Now they taste good right off the grill, but I find after a day in the refrigerator they firm up a little bit and then they taste even better. So that beef jerky recipe is a staple for us. I make it usually about once a month, lasts for 3 weeks in the refrigerator, and is a really good snack. That's about it for me. Last thing to look at is the Traeger cabin. It's still around after about a year. It's a little bit more colorful, but the girls are still having a blast playing with it. So until next time, I'll see you later.
Lockout.